Grand Rising family. So I just wanted to put out this message from a dream channeling that I received within the past 2 nights, this morning and the night before. And the first dream, I was at this place. It seemed like a college campus, unlike any campus I've ever visited. Definitely not a place I've been to before. I don't even know whether to call it a campus, but that was the first thing that came to mind in the description. And I'm just going to skip to like the main parts. And in the dream, I noticed in a lot of the dream I was by myself, like maneuvering by myself. And I remember a lot of water and this dock. And the dock led to, like, the dock was like along the side. And then there was like a sidewalk and walkway, for, I guess, people to come from that way. And it's gonna make sense. So I remember I first entered this lodge-like place where I guess it was like the cafeteria where everyone would go and eat. And I remember when I first went in, oddly enough, I just had on a t-shirt and swimsuit bottoms and, feeling uncomfortable. Because I don't know, for some reason I didn't realize I was dressed this way until I entered the building. I noticed all these people on the left side eating McDonald's. And once I looked down and realized that I only had on swimsuit bottoms, basically inappropriately dressed. I remember this Asian guy walking in, and, he walks past me and he goes toward, as he's coming to enter the lodge or the cafeteria, all he has on is a red t-shirt and like a red headband. And no bottoms at all. Like, he didn't have on underwear, swim trunks or nothing. Like, he was just completely nude. And as he was walking up, like, before I had the opportunity to really look down there, because of course, that's going to draw your attention. Like, what is this person doing? He did something with his hands down there in his private area, as if he was tucking his penis. I don't know. It's really weird. But whenever he entered in, it was completely void down there. Like some TV shit. Like it was nothing down there. Almost like he had a vagina. But there was no lips or anything like that. No labia, no vulva. It was just bare. And I remember when he was walking in, he kind of announced to everyone, of people whose attention he's drawn, and he was like, "Don't worry, you guys, I tucked it," or whatever. And, he went on, and he was just such in a hyper, like, just this mood. Like, he was very proud. And, he went on and proceeded to sit on the side, on the left side where people were eating McDonald's. So anyway, I proceeded back to, I guess, wherever I resided, to do, to put on some clothes or whatever. And so on my way back, I remember seeing these people leave, like, in a non-linear line, exiting the calf and, like, moving left. Like, they were moving left where it was a lot of people. And on my right side, there were people coming up that sidewalk that I mentioned who were heading to the calf. Again, in a line-like fashion, but not exactly, linear. More of a line-like fashion, but, still not exactly linear. And I remember, as I'm viewing this, mind you, there's, like, water in between all of this. I'm like, walking toward the calf, you know, observing, you know, these people leaving and entering. And that's when it dawns on me, like, wow, I'm walking on water. So I continue forward. You know, people notice me, but don't really pay me that much attention. It's like they see me, they look at me, but it's like no fascination in their faces, right? They just look at me with kind of like this, and more so the people on the left side, right? The people who were exiting. I noticed a few faces, particularly female, looking at me with kind of like this resting bitch face, and but not really fascinated about, you know, me walking on the water. I mean, somehow I wasn't that fascinated either. Almost like, I don't know, like it was just my norm or something. And so anyway, I continue on to the calf, and when I enter the calf, there's this European Caucasian male, whatever you want to call it, and he tells us, well, he's telling us, the people who are with me at the time, or he's just telling everyone as they enter, okay, so this is this side over here, which he was referring to the right side, which was behind him, is basically soul food. We have some Chinese food. We have like rice and mashed potatoes and corn, and you know, like he was just listing like these more home cooked meals, proposed to the other side, where it was just McDonald's on the left side. And there was a lot of people who went to eat the McDonald's food, like, and they literally all had on, like, red was like a very dominant color over there in that whole entire section. And it was like multiple tables because there were so many people eating McDonald's. And so I went, of course I chose the more home cooked foods. And so I went to the right of me, where this guy, I guess he was responsible for laying out these foods or what have you. So I sat over there to eat and everything, and you know, it's like it was a cool like energy for the most part. People were passing like, you know, like how there's like bowls of food in the middle of the table, because it was just this one big long table, because it wasn't that many of us who chose the home cooked food. So people was just passing the food, you know how you would see, you know, movies and stuff like that, or family gatherings, people passing the bowls or whatever, so people can get, you know, their share of whatever foods. And I remember someone basically paying like appreciation and praise to that guy, you know, for preparing, you know, these foods. And I remember he got very emotional, you know, his face turned red and he just got very emotional. Not that this matters, but I could tell that he was he was more feminine than your typical masculine. And you know, like I said, he got emotional, you know, just from, you know, what was being said to him, you know, that appreciation and stuff like that. And, you know, seemingly I was in agreement, because it's like I appreciated the fact that we had the option of home cooked meals as well, opposed to just, you know, McDonald's. Like, everybody know how toxic McDonald's is. But another, you know, the individual who was speaking was again a Caucasian European person, but it was a female, and she was sitting on my right side. And literally, I don't know how I missed this before, but when I looked at her, she literally had like a resemblance of herpes on her lips, like on her top lip and her bottom lip, right? So I woke up out of the dream, and as soon as I woke up out of the dream, you know, I started like rebuking, okay, whatever, you know, dark person, whatever, you know, if anyone was trying to feed me something out of a demonic or low vibrational nature, basically I rebuked it, I rejected, you know, it is banished from my energy. I reclaim any energy that was attempted to be stolen from me or harvested from me. And, you know, just basically doing my works, you know. For some reason, when I woke up, I was so repulsed by, you know, what I saw in this female's face that I just automatically sensed, okay, something's not right, you know, and something felt odd about it anyway. But anyway, I just automatically felt like I needed to speak against it, and, you know, so I did. So the dream that I had this morning, I'm going to go into detail after I share both of these dreams. The dream that I had this morning was, actually I wrote it down. So I'm just going to read how I wrote it as soon as I woke up, which was about 5, it was going on 5:30. Okay, so I put that I'm at the store with 2 females. I remember them making purchases, and I remember myself wanting to purchase chocolate, and remember reflecting on Reese's candy. Okay, so this next scene, because it just moved quickly. So I went to another store, and apparently my brother drove me to the store. I walked in about 5 p.m. Right? So once again, these 5s, right, repeating itself. Like, what time I actually woke up was around 5, and what time I entered the store was about 5 p.m. Only one register was open, which was unusual. An older lady nearby the entrance, sweeping. Basically, she informed me that only one register was open. So I complained a little to myself, but out loud, not too loud, you know, just speaking out loud, thinking out loud. And I proceeded to the line. Out of nowhere, a bad storm began. The old lady started saying, "There goes Elmo," naming the storm. I guess that was, you know how people name hurricanes and, you know, whatever, you know, that's what she was referring to when she said that. The store resembled a huge, old, rusty-like shack. Like, it was very high in length, right? And it's just this large place. The roof was made of old, rusty metal pallets or plates, and they began to chip and break. And the roof began falling, thundering, and raining hard. I'm sorry, you guys, because I was just writing. Alright, so I'm just going to have to remember and speak. Okay. So it was just really raining and thundering, like, really, really bad. Like, the storm was just worsening. And as a result, these metal pallets, you know, and plates were breaking and falling onto the people inside of the store, y'all. Everyone began to run frantically, attempting to escape the metal shards and debris. I was hit a few times on my head, but managed to block out most of it and escape the building. My older cousin and brother had apparently took me there and was waiting for me in the car. My brother was no longer in the car and had apparently went to the store nearby. So we drove over to get him. In the meantime, I'm telling my cousin what just happened, and he mentioned, "Isn't that place super old anyway?" I mentioned my head bleeding from the shards toward the middle of my head. I touched my head a few times in the same area, and although seeing little blood at first, as I touched more and more, I saw less to no blood. I also reflected on a woman warning us at the upcoming storm and to be careful. I also referred back to the notes in my phone listed 6 minutes ago. Like, for some reason, that's how long ago it was. It was 6 minutes ago of me needing to leave. And y'all, my handwriting, I was writing this in the dark. Okay. Anyway, so I remember seeing this, and just reflecting on like, wow, so I should have listened. If I would have, listened to what I was told, I would have avoided, the storm and these metal shards falling and hitting my head. This is the 6 minutes is about how long ago it happened, and that's what I just said. If I would have left, I could have escaped before it happened and avoided it altogether. So there's a portion of the dream that when my cousin, there's a portion of the dream when my cousin backed into park at the store. He drove onto the cement sidewalk a little. All right, so after I wrote down this dream, I got up to plug up my laptop or whatever. And after writing down my dream, I proceeded to turn on my laptop to play psychic protection sound frequencies. And the time was 5:40 exactly, equaling to the number 9. There was an ad before the video started, and the first thing that popped up was the word heal in all caps, and centered in the ad, surrounded by water and air-like background. My attention was then drawn to the right corner of the screen, which had the word Gaia, which means earth. All right. So what I got from this dream, I tried to go back to sleep this morning, and I could not go back to sleep. And what I kept hearing was that this is like a time more than ever to really be on top of your discernment. If not that, this is a time where it's really going to show if you've really been developing your discernment, if you've really been healing, your sacral chakra, right? If you've really been doing the work on your chakras. So, but the biggest thing was discernment. And it's so crazy that, in that first dream, it required, discernment, because even with, the two options of whether you can eat McDonald's and, or have the home cooked meals, a lot of people clearly, were not discerning of the toxicity of McDonald's food. That's why there was so much more people over there. So basically being outnumbered whenever it comes to discernment, right? Not that many people are going to be able to discern basically these demonic forces or dark forces from, that which is divine, or not going to be able to discern properly the warnings and, this, that, and the third. And this is also a reminder to divine beings, light beings, that when the Most High or your spirit guides, whomever that they choose to utilize to get these messages to you, but whenever they speak to you about a situation, listen the first time. I don't know what I'm feeling right now, but for some reason I'm feeling emotional. Like out of nowhere I started feeling emotional. Oh wow. So listening the first time, even with me receiving the warnings that I receive whenever I enter the store, even having to go to another store, right? And making, being vigilant and having all these gifts, but still, not acting on them the first time, it put me in a situation where I could have barely escaped, regardless of, what type of protection or whatever that you have, a lot of it still, requires a lot from you, right? From you being respectful of, your discernment. And I'll tell you this too, y'all. whenever I exited the building, the storm just disappeared. It's almost, like what I heard was like it was just a dark cloud, around this particular building. Like, and once again, it's an old, rusted building, right? So that could, symbolize so much. And thank you. So even now, as I'm talking about it, it's like, being stuck in just old energy, in a sense that is detrimental, is defeating to you, right? And it's only leading you like to your own demise. Y'all, another thing, when I exited this store, I was the only person that exited the store. Everybody was running frantically. Everyone, and I literally was, look, the lights were off. And another thing, when I entered the store the first time, the store was already dimmed. It was already dimmed lighting, right? And like I said, they were closing early, for preparation of the storm. They were expecting the storm, and it's like not even everybody in there was expecting the storm. This lady, whoever this lady, this elder woman was expecting the storm. And I assume I guess other employees, or I don't know. But to my understanding, this lady, because of what she communicated to me, she was expecting a storm, and indicated to me that's why they were in the state that they were in this early at 5 p.m. with only one register open, right? They were getting ready to close the store. Oh wow, this is so deep. So anyway, yeah, I was the only one who successfully exited the store. And like I said, even though everyone was running frantically, I knew where to run. I headed straight for the entrance. You would think anybody would, but for some reason they did not make it out. And like I said, I was able to dodge and block out, some of the metal shards and stuff like that. But I was still being hit by some of them. Anyway, I exit the store. There's no more storm. It's regular as hell outside. But all these things, are, meaningful. Even, in the storm, well, even in the first dream, it was very sunny out, lots of water, but nonetheless, and water symbolizes intuition, right? And then intuition, emotions, and all that, right? So, and water also rules over the sacral chakra. And then the sun being out, right? So that enlightenment, having that enlightenment. So even though this was emphasized in the dream, by these symbols being there and being very, available, there were still, people, like I said, who were following a crowd. So yes, being mindful of the company you keep, being mindful that you're not following crowds who are being led by the blind leading the blind. Being very mindful of people's states of being, because it can literally, if you're not careful, lead you to your own demise. And even though it's even if people are seemingly choosing something that is healthier, you still have to have your discernment in full intact. Because like I said, even though I sat at this home cooked table, there were still things that I noticed that were odd. And the fact that, I looked over at this woman with these sores around her mouth, that was just alarming to me. That, okay, whoa. Maybe it's not completely safe here. Now, I take that two ways. This also could symbolize, this person sitting at this table for healing, right? Being that she was clearly unhealed or was dealing with an illness with these sores on her mouth. So that could be a thing too. But yeah, and also I'm going to share this too. I was going to keep this to myself, but the first dream that I had, there was another dream that I had prior to that. And the reason why I was going to keep this to myself, because they do seem a little cuckoo. But this, the first dreams, the dreams that I had yesterday, I pulled cards on it, so I already know what it's about. In the first dream, for some reason, I was dating 50 Cent. Yes, 50 Cent, the rapper. I know, like, I don't know, it's weird, but I was. Somehow we met, he saw me, and, basically, stepped up to me, and basically, you know, addressed me, and, you know, basically, you know, took his shot or whatever, I don't know. But somehow we were dating in a dream. And I remember, you know, he was like a very humble, like, person. He was very humble. And I remember in one of our intimate conversations, you know, he was just expressing how he didn't want people to view him or treat him, you know, like he's something holier than thou. Like, he didn't want to be treated for his, you know, just for the simple fact that he has a lot of money, you know, that he's a billionaire, millionaire, or whatever. It's like, even though he had these things, he didn't place his, you know, his value so much into that. I remember he had a son in this dream, and all of this. But I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because this video is already going longer than I intended. But my Mercury is in Taurus, so, I mean, we kind of take our time. I mean, you have to appreciate, you know, all the different variations of high vibrational beings and high priestess that the Most High create. You know, you're going to have some people who you know, who speak at different speeds. So, once again, when I pulled a card for that particular portion of the dream, the Pioneer card came out. Pioneer. I think I have these cards. I laid them on top of the deck. I used the Caroline Miss archetype deck. Yeah, so it's right on top. So, Pioneer. The light attribute. Passion for doing and creating what has not been done before. Right? And then the shadow attribute is compulsive need to keep moving on. So, since I've gotten this deck, I've never read the booklet for it. But for the sake of this message here, I'm going to read it. What Pioneer means in this booklet. Alright. So, Pioneer means explorer, settler, pilgrim, innovator. Discovers and explores new territory, whether external or internal. May initiate innovative fashions, art, music, or literature. And then the shadow pioneer manifests as a compulsive need to abandon the present and move on, never settling anywhere. Ask if your life has been characterized by a need to consistently step on fresh and undiscovered territory in at least one realm. Alright. So the other two cards that came out was Networker. I'm not putting them that fast. Anyway, it was Networker. And I want to say, I just took these cards out. Ain't that the devil? That is the devil. That is the devil. Okay, so I just took some cards out. And oh, that's why, because I have them sitting up here behind Pioneer. Alright, so Networker, an angel came out regarding that second portion of the dream while I'm on this campus. And Networker reads, light attributes, enhances unity through the sharing of information, engenders social awareness and empathy. Shadow attributes, conveys information only for personal gain, spreads fear and falsehood. Angel, light attribute, helping those in need with no expectation of return. Shadow attributes, acting innocent or angelic to mislead others, falsely claiming to be in touch with angelic guidance. Wow. 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 So what I heard just now, reading this angel card, is that, once again, even though, like, repeating what I said earlier, even though something or someone may appear to be more healthier, or let's say conscious, because you see a lot of this in the conscious community, more conscious than a way of being, or a way like these people eating McDonald's and stuff like that, because you'll have a lot of conscious people talk about certain foods or certain things that we should not engage in or whatever, and they'll try to use that to make it seem like they are truly like that they have good intentions, that they are truly like an authentic light being, when in actuality they have ulterior motives. So let me read. And it's so odd because even the Pioneer card in the booklet, Networker is listed right next to Pioneer. But I'm going to read Angel. I'm going to read the Angel first. Especially the shadow attributes, right? These people masquerading themselves as light when they are truly dark. So let's read the light attributes first. So angel, fairy, godmother, godfather, has a strong connection to the angelic realm through art, music, or literature. Provides a channel through which angels' presence is palpably manifested. Shows a prominent, loving, and nurturing character. Fairy, godmother, godfather helps someone in need anonymously and with no expectation of any return. Shadow angel manifests as a claim to be in touch with angelic guidance for the sake of control or ego enhancement, or acting innocent to mislead others. Wow, and it's so crazy because the number of this page is 33. Look for a lifelong pattern of inspiring others spiritually or aesthetically. Okay. So that's what we got for the angel card. And then networker, we have messenger, herald, courier, journalist, communicator. Expands sphere of influence by forging alliances and making connections among vastly different groups of people. Helps develop social flexibility and empathy that seeks commonality with those who might not seem to be potential friends or allies. Messenger and communicator have skills to disseminate information and power. Shadow networker merely uses connection with others for personal gain. Look for a continuing pattern of forging links with others to deliver vital information and ideas. All right. Wow, 33 on the timer just now. Okay. Yeah, so also what I heard too is, once again, going back to being mindful of the company that you keep. These people acting like they care about you, but they have, other, they have dark intentions toward you, right? And once again, needing to really stand or really be heightened in your discernment and your intuition and your connection to your guides, right? Making sure that there's no distorted telepathy going on there, and learning how to shield and protect yourself so that doesn't manifest, that so that it puts you in these situations where you're misled. You know what I'm saying? It's like it needs to be heightened more than ever right now, especially in this age of Aquarius, and this with this Saturn and Aquarius energy going on, especially with Sun in Pisces, especially with the Sun in Pisces. It needs to be heightened. It needs to be tweaked. It needs to be sharpened. It needs to be edified. It needs to be on point. That's just, I'm getting the emphasis of discernment. An emphasis on discernment. Wow. I think I'm going to put this in another video of something that I noticed the other day as well. But y'all, I'm just going to tell you to really be mindful, really be discerning anywhere that you are, because these demonic forces, as you've seen throughout history, have found ways to infiltrate anything that's divine, right? Once again, that sneaky, cunning, demonic serpent type energy, right? That shape shifter, hyena energy. So, like sociopathy as well, like being able to mask emotions, of people, emotional displays, and stuff like that they see repeated around them, or, that they study from other people, and then them embodying, embodying this in a sense of it being a mask, right? But not it really being something that comes internally, this really being, of this individual, right? Spiritually. So being mindful of these type of shape-shifting individuals who are, masquerading themselves in this form, for ulterior motives, right? And I have to say this too. Those particular cousins, well, those particular family members are kind of shape-shifty. I have to say that. I have to be honest. In real life, they are. So I definitely have to say that too. But yeah, you guys, I didn't want this video to be too long. And, I really hope this resonates with someone. This makes sense to somebody. Like I said, I have another video that I'm going to do. And just to show you the cards. So we have, excuse my nails. We have the Pioneer, Angel, and the Networker card. So. Alright, you guys. So, this is the Authentic Empress. Thank you for listening. Like I said, I know it may have seemed like it was all over the place, but I just could not rest on this. Once again, emphasis on discernment at all times, at all places, at all times. Even when you think something may potentially be safe, still stand in that discernment. Don't get too comfortable in a sense that you forsake your discernment and your intuition at any given time. You forsake the messages of the divine at any given time, because you have to keep in mind, we are in spiritual warfare. Yes, you are victorious, but you are more victorious when you actually respect and honor the voice of your soul, when you actually respect and honor your gifts and your discernment, your intuition, these, spiritual abilities that we gain from the Most High, that connection, right? All right, so be mindful of people trying to poison you spiritually. All right, so I'll talk to you guys next time.